Hi, everyone.
Hello,
Welcome to this episode of Decoding Your Superpowers.
mm,
I'm Teresa Lisum with my friend and fellow coach.
Linda Karchner.
We're so glad you're here.
Yes,
We
we
tried to get
are.
on early and it still didn't happen, but we're here and we appreciate you allowing us to be fluid for
Yes.
this episode.
Every episode.
Every episode, yeah. We're just being ourselves, that's for
Yeah,
sure. But this is our opportunity to really have a discussion around strengths, which we love, and it keeps our skill level sharp as well.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's kind of for selfish reasons. But we also
Hmm.
want you to see how
Yeah.
powerful this is. And
Hmm.
hopefully, over time, if you listen to us enough, you can
Hmm.
start to see how this information can be impactful on your life, in your world, and use it for different areas of your world, your life, excuse me.
Because our superpowers are how we do everything. It's how we are in relationship with the people who are the most important to us, our family and friends. It's how we relate at work, in our health and wellness, everything. It's how we do everything. So it's really crucial to know this. And I specialize with working like in a church setting, a faith-based, and it is amazing to me how people are on their spiritual journey, and this shows how people approach their spiritual journey, their faith journey in their own unique way.
And they don't even realize that
Yeah,
it's all lining up
right.
with what we're seeing
Hmm.
objectively as a third party,
Right.
how these things are showing up for people. I think it's because we're so close to them and
Yeah.
they're so easy and natural for us
Hmm.
that we don't realize we're doing anything different, out of the ordinary, special.
Right.
But we may be, we may not be. Like me and you, Linda, we're very
Sure.
similar in our strengths
Right.
report, but we're each different individuals. They're in different
Hmm.
orders. So they play out differently for us.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
so even with that being said, I lost my train of thought. I had a
Did
point I
you?
was making.
I'm
um,
not sure.
But with that being said, we are unique, even though we all share similar strengths. It's where they're at, and so the order
Right.
is really important.
We all have the same 34 strengths.
Yes.
Gallup has done tons of research, tons of interviews and assessments, millions. So when I say tons, it's not
Mm,
just a
yeah,
couple hundred or a couple thousand,
exactly.
it's millions, tens of millions
Hmm.
of these assessments have been gone out. Over 30 million, I think,
Wow.
have been done. Yeah, like 34, 35 million, something like that. So Gallup has found that this is a cross-cultural these are cross-cultural
Hmm.
truths, no matter what country you're in, what kind of dynamic you grew up with. And that brings us to we had talked before we got on camera about just reminding people about the basics about Clifton Strengths. If you go to gallup.com and click on Clifton Strengths, and it will say something to the effect of purchase an assessment code or take the assessment or something like that. And in the United States, it's around $60 to take the assessment plus tax. Um, and you'll see an option there to unlock either your top five or your full 34. Do the full 34. It is worth
Hmm.
the
Yes.
investment. If you would do the top five and later want to unlock the full 34, it would actually end up costing you more than if you did the full 34
Yeah.
right from the get-go. So it's worth that investment, and we'll probably talk a little bit today about our bottom strengths. And I love knowing my bottom strengths. Our mentor had a strengths liberation statement that we would use when we were learning and, in our coaching certification. And it's very liberating to know your bottom strengths.
Hmm.
It's liberating to know what your kryptonite is versus what your superpowers are. So you
True.
can avoid getting into your kryptonite because you can do everything you need to do by using your top 10, your superpowers.
Yeah. And sometimes we're forcing to be working with those bottom strengths, and it's probably stressful, and it's
Hmm.
making us like it's sucking the energy out of us,
Yeah.
and we're just not being our authentic selves. So
Yeah.
we might be using those strengths, but they're not really serving us in a
Right.
way that our top 10 will serve us,
Hmm.
where we're most energetic, our most
Hmm.
authentic self, our most productive, our most creative. So anything down in those bottom five, as you said, we can do
Right.
from that top
Hmm.
layer of strengths.
Hmm.
So with that being said, and thank you for sharing about taking and paying for all of them. So there
Hmm.
is an investment up front,
Yeah,
but
it is.
what you get back out of it, so much information.
It is
It's so
amazing.
helpful. And they just give you what, 4 or 5 reports
Right.
packed full of information.
Hmm.
It's a little overwhelming,
It is.
but that's where we come into play.
That's right.
We can cut through that overwhelm and get to the core and the heart of it.
Yeah, and when I first took the assessment, I just unlocked the top five
Me
because
too.
that's kind of what we were doing at the time. I bought the book, Strengths Finders 2.0, and it
Mhm.
had a code in the back that was included in the price of the book, but it was the top five. And then I read the book and I read my report and I highlighted and underlined, and I still didn't get how powerful and how
Yes,
rich
yes.
all of that information was. So once I got coaching and we took our coaching certification program, it was like this whole world opened up as to the just I would keep saying the word power
The
of
power.
these of each individual person's strengths.
Yeah, and the richness, and there's
Hmm.
all these
Hmm.
nuances, and
Yeah,
there's
yeah, that's a
so
good
much
word.
more that we can see them superficially. We can read the words. We can,
Mm-hmm.
but once you to dig into them is where it really becomes prominent as to the power of these, I
Mm-hmm.
think. And I did the same thing. I started with the
Mm-hmm.
book, I dug into it. It really was resonating with me. And then, over time, I kept my foot in that world. And it
Right.
took me a couple of years till I jumped in full force,
Yeah. Yeah.
jumped into the pool. And I'm
Right.
so glad I did because it's
Mm-hmm.
been so fun. And as I go over my clients' reports, it's like I swear 100% of the time
Yeah.
it is on point.
Yep.
It is on point. There might be some variations. We're like, well, it doesn't exactly show up that way, but blah, blah, blah. And they'll tell me. And
Right.
it's just uncanny how, how, how true this is.
Right.
These reports are.
People always say, my clients always say, it's like you're reading my mind.
Yes.
It's like they read my journal. Well, they didn't.
Yes.
It's just you answering the questions truthfully,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and these questions get to the heart of the matter.
Yes. And I want to mention real quick, when you do take the assessment, carve out about 30 minutes or a little bit
Yeah.
longer of
Yeah.
uninterrupted
Right.
time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be distracted. You want
Right.
to be able to answer the questions
Mm-hmm.
with the first thing in your head because they
Right.
only give you a limited time to answer the
Yes. You
questions.
have, I
I
think,
think
like
it's,
20
yeah,
seconds
20
to answer each
seconds,
question.
and then it rolls over to the next one. So to get a true reading, you just answer them. I mean, if you have to think a few seconds, fine,
Right.
but just know that it's not meant to be, let me
Right.
think about that. It's your honest initial reaction.
Your gut reflex, your
Yes,
gut instinct about yourself, and not answering the way you think you should answer.
correct.
Answering
Correct.
according to what you truly believe about yourself.
hmm And this all does come down to your beliefs
Mm-hmm.
and what's important to you. That's
Right.
what these actually
Right.
are. So I'm guessing you're seeing this report that we're going
I
to
can
look
see
over
it.
today.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully everyone else can too,
Yeah, and
depending on technology.
you can see all of my writing on it. We're giving you a little backdoor peek into what we do as coaches.
Uh-huh.
Once I get that report, I print it out. I have to print it out so I could write all over it like I've
Right.
done here. So you're seeing what I do, my process to
Mm-hmm.
really dig into this person's strengths, beliefs, and
Right.
what's important to her. So
Mm-hmm.
this is, I chose this one because this is an interesting report and I wanted to hear Linda's take on it.
Mm-hmm.
So as we've talked about in the past, there's these four categories, and this is not colored. I did not print this out in color, but
Mm-hmm.
they're color coded. Each strength has a color attached to it, and then they
Right.
correspond with these four strengths categories over here:
Mm-hmm.
executing, influencing, relationship building, strategic thinking. So the first thing both of us do is we count up the colors, put them
Right.
within their correct category. That's
Yeah.
literally all it is.
Mm-hmm. And we can do that because the algorithm, the computer program for CliftonStrengths has already ranked them
Yes.
in order as to the ones that help that person, they energize that person the most, and the person has the least hesitation, starting at number
Mhm.
1, going
Yes.
down to 34. So 34 is where that person hesitates the most, and it has the least amount of energy, at least excitement about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've had people kind of challenge me on that. Like, you can't just count it. Well, CliftonStrengths has already done the heavy lifting
Thank you.
of the counting and the ranking, I guess I should say.
Thank you so much. Great explanation. So we're doing the easy part.
Yeah.
They did all the heavy lifting in the
Right.
background. We get the end result of that, and so it's easy for us to place them in the categories where we know they go. And
Hmm.
as you
Hmm.
said, Linda, number one is our highest energy,
Yeah.
energizing strength.
Hmm.
And then the second one is a little less energizing. The next
Hmm.
one down. So they kind of lose a little bit of energy as they go down the list.
Yeah.
And we tend to focus on the top 10.
Hmm. Hmm.
Those I like to refer to as our zone of genius. That's who we are in a nutshell.
Hmm.
11, 12, 13. Many people, most people would be my guess, bleed out into those 11, 12, 13
Yeah.
around there.
Hmm.
But we don't always look at them. I mean, I do look at them, but depending on the time frame, we
Yeah.
might have to only focus on those top 10. But it's
Yeah.
good to know that, oh, you do
Hmm.
use those
Hmm.
next couple of ones, maybe
Hmm.
just in a lesser way. You just pull them out when you need them.
Right. Right.
And then everything after that is the middle neutral zone. Not much happening there. I don't even really
Hmm.
look at those.
Yeah.
Just sometimes out of curiosity, I'll want to see where a
Hmm.
particular strength
Hmm.
falls. And then the
Right.
bottom five, as you mentioned, Linda, they're the least important to us, the least energizing, so they could almost be sucking the energy out of us.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it's just good to be aware of them so
Hmm.
you can kind of let them go and, as you said, be liberated from them.
Right. Right.
But everything in the middle, like, don't care.
Hmm. Hmm.
Not that important to our
Right.
what we
Yeah.
want. So this particular person, after we counted everything up,
Hmm.
we put them into these four categories. And many people, everybody has a dominant domain generally,
Yeah.
meaning
Yeah.
they have the most strengths in that bucket.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then sometimes people have a secondary category that
Mhm.
it's pretty close. Some people have a pretty even split. That's not that common, but you
Right.
can see here that that's what's happening here.
Yeah,
This
so
person,
my husband is very similar. He has 4 executing in his top 10 superpowers, 3 strategic thinking, and 3 relationship building. So
so
I'm that's
he's
why I was looking at his report earlier just to see like the overlap. Um, so some of them are different and some of them are the same as this individual that we have up here. So, they're like, even though their domains are 433, executing, strategic thinking, relationship building, they're the same because the strengths that make up those different domains that are in their top 10 are different for my husband versus this person. They're going to interact with the world in a different way. So like
right.
my husband does not have harmony anywhere close to the top 10. It's like 18. So, this person probably will operate from consensus much more than what my husband would.
Right. And it's good to have that person to get feedback from.
Hmm. Hmm.
I mean, we're looking at this objectively, pulling from our knowledge and our understanding of these categories and these strengths. But to get a true read on it, it's good to have that person in front of us or, in the same meeting with
Yeah.
us
Yeah, we love that.
giving us feedback. So
Hmm.
if that's something you want to do, certainly send us your report over and we'll
Hmm.
will interact with you. But
Yeah.
so this particular person, because there's 3 strategic thinking strengths and
Hmm.
3 relationship building
Hmm.
strengths, which look equal on
Hmm.
paper,
Hmm.
but I knew one of them had to take the lead a little bit. Which one
Mm.
was a little bit more energizing for her?
Okay.
So
Did she give you feedback on that?
yeah, so I
Okay.
circled strategic thinking. So she
Oh, okay.
felt that she led with that
Oh,
strategic thinking a little
okay.
bit over the relationship
Okay.
building.
So, because just looking at the order of her superpowers, I would have guessed relationship building
Hmm,
because relator, empathy are in the top 5.
good point.
Harmony I mentioned before, that's 8, but her strategic thinking are in the lower half of
That's a
the
really
top
good
10.
point.
So
But yeah,
I would have guessed relationship building, but
mm-hmm.
that's why you have to ask the person.
Right, right. So when there's that split like that,
Yeah.
and she might, I mean, maybe once she thought about it after the fact, she might have come to what you thought would be the
Yeah.
conclusion. Maybe she did realize, like, oh, yeah, maybe people got a slight edge over top of the thinking part of
Mm-hmm.
it, but
Mm-hmm.
she definitely leads with executing because she has
Mm-hmm.
4 strengths there. So
Yeah.
anytime a person has 3 or more strengths
Mm-hmm.
in a category, that's important to them, that particular category. So as an executor, she has 4. So she likes to get things done. She likes to
Mm-hmm.
do. She likes to take action. She
Right.
likes to have a checklist. She likes to have forward momentum going where she's doing,
Making
creating,
sure
just,
things get done the right
yes,
way.
the right way, her way,
Her
how
way.
she defines
Yeah.
right.
My
So,
husband and I joke, and he'll say, because the right way is my way, or my
yes,
way is the right way.
right, right. And they'll try to convince people to come
Yeah.
around to their way of thinking,
Right.
which is fine, but you have to know that that's what they're doing.
Uh-huh.
They're not, putting you down in any way. They just
Right.
believe
Yeah, yeah,
wholeheartedly
it's just
that
a
their way
driving
is the right
force
way.
for them to get things done in the way that seems the most productive for them.
And I think when we're interacting with people who think differently than us, we think it's them like attacking us personally or the way
Right.
we think.
Right.
And it really isn't. That's just how they think.
Yeah.
And we
And
have
it,
to understand that and not take it as a personal,
and that's why
affront.
it's so helpful, so beneficial for anyone in a relationship. And I don't mean just a, marriage or romantic relationship, friendships, work relationships, church relationships. This, for me, it gives the language that you can all
Yeah.
find common ground. And then you can kind of laugh about it
Mm-hmm.
and kind of make the strength the bad guy. I have said more than once to my husband, okay, that's your deliberative strength.
Yeah, yeah, yep. I
And,
have done
and it's
that too.
working a little overtime right now. And my deliberative is 30, his is 3. And so I try to value, and I saw this person had deliberative at number
Number
1.
one, yes.
I try to value his input for seeing how things could go wrong, and at the same time saying, okay, we've discussed all the possibilities. Now let's just, enjoy life
Yeah.
a little bit.
Let's move forward with all
Enjoy
that info.
people,
Let's,
relationships, as a high relationship builder.
but yeah, deliberative is all about looking at all those different angles and what
Hmm.
could go
The
wrong
obstacles.
and planning for all of them.
Yeah.
They can almost probably become like overthinking on
Yes.
any particular topic, as
Yes.
you just said. Like at
Hmm.
some point, you got to stop
Right.
and move forward and take some action,
Yeah. Yeah.
with all of that info that you've gathered in. So but that's important to her. She wants to be
Hmm.
very careful in how
Hmm.
she makes her decisions.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why it's sitting at
Absolutely.
number one.
Hmm.
And then her number two, which is relator,
Also, my husband's number 2.
is it? Relator is a descriptor word that doesn't really match the definition
Hmm.
of this
Hmm.
strength.
Hmm.
So, relator, I heard somebody say once, like, oh, that's how you relate to people. I knew right then that he didn't know what he was talking about because that's not what it means.
I have heard people who are strengths people describe it that way. And I'm like, no, that's not it.
Yeah. So, some of these words are an appropriate description for the strengths, and there's a
Mhm.
few that just are not what you would think they would be.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of them need a little bit of clarification.
Yes, yes.
So, relator means how you relate to people. And it's someone who relates to people in a small inner circle. They have deep relationships with a small group versus, a mile wide and an inch deep.
Right,
They're a mile deep and an inch wide. So
right, right.
relators are depth of relationship, not width of
And
relationships.
and strength of those relationships
Yeah,
in that
yeah,
small, we like to refer to it as the inner circle.
yeah.
Like, and they're hand-picked basically.
Hmm.
I mean,
Hmm.
that's what this particular person kept saying. Like, she
Yeah,
observes, she watches,
yeah.
she's very discerning as to
Mm,
who she's going to open
mhm.
up to.
Because it takes a lot of emotional investment and energy and vulnerability. It's a big risk for someone who has relator high to
Mhm.
let someone into that inner circle.
Very
And if
good point.
someone in their inner circle betrays their trust, it is devastating.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
they are, and with deliberative at number 1, she is super cautious.
Yes, super cautious. And then empathy's at number
Yeah.
three. So she can feel the feelings of others. She's
Mhm.
could be seen as a sensitive.
Mhm.
I would think she would want to be very protective of her
Right.
energy. And as you
Right.
said, of who she allows in, who she allows close to her. because it's going to drain her if the
Mm-hmm.
wrong people are around her,
Right.
if there's too many people around her.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not in any way, shape, or form a negative thing. That's just who she is.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
she
Exactly.
is. Like there's nothing wrong with it.
And it's
That's
so
just
good
her
to know that
superpowers.
about yourself so you
Yes,
can explain
yes,
it to other people
correct.
and have the language to explain to other people why it is you do the things the way that you do them. It's
Right,
not that
right.
she doesn't like people or, is critical of people. She has a need to protect. And because she's so sensitive to other people's emotions, feeling them, she has to be careful who she
Mhm.
allows to take her energy. Because
Right.
when you have empathy high, that's tough.
Yeah, it could just be very, very draining emotionally, energetically.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so and some as an outsider, we might. Oh, I forgot how to get over there now. There it is. I forgot how to go back to the thing. Okay, you should be seeing the report
Yep.
again.
Yeah, I see it.
As an outsider, we could assume that this person is shy, introverted,
Yeah. Yeah.
not wanting to get to know
Yeah.
me, might be
Mm-hmm.
very
Mm-hmm.
stoic, and maybe that's how they do come across, but that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean they're not a good, open, loving
Right.
person that wants connection. I mean, she's got relationship building. She got three strengths in that relationship building category.
Yeah.
So people and connection are still important to her,
Mm-hmm.
just
Hmm.
not in a way I see connection because
Right.
I have includer. So like my arms are like, oh, bring
Mm-hmm. I have
everybody in.
includer high also.
Yes. And
Do you still
hers
have
is,
woo high in your top
I
10?
have it at number 10. Yeah.
It's at 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my woo is probably about where this lady's woo is.
Which is actually, I would think it'd be a little lower than where it's at. It's sitting at number 23 here. I'm
Yeah,
surprised it's
I have
not
woo at
down
20.
lower. But so her capacity
Mm-hmm.
is right here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My capacity is out here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's just good to know, and don't make any assumptions about people
Yeah.
because they're just operating from a different lineup of superpowers
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
strengths. So again, that doesn't mean she just does it in a softer, smaller way.
Mhm. And a more thoughtful way.
Intentional, yes,
Yeah,
intentional
she
way.
with analytical at number 9 and intellection at number 10. She's a thinker.
Yes, yes.
She's looking at how things came to be, like the data, and thinking. Intellection is someone who thinks deeply, sometimes overthinks. So the deliberative and intellection can kind of suck you into a negative way if you're not careful. Um, so
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, very interesting.
yeah, very interesting. She has consistency at number 5.
Mm,
That's another kind of like a
mm-hmm,
misnomer,
mm-hmm.
a label that's not quite congruent with what the strength
Yeah.
itself
That
means.
that used to be called fairness. And
Oh,
I like that word because to me that's like the driving force behind consistency. People want the rules to be fair for everybody so
yeah,
that you can be more productive and if everybody knows the rules and they're enforced consistently, then there's no surprises.
right, right. And that would jive with the discipline right above
Oh
it.
yeah, liking
Structure,
structure,
routine.
order, routine. Yeah,
Yes, yes. So
yeah,
just because you might look up at your strengths lineup and you
yeah.
don't have discipline and you don't have consistency sitting there doesn't mean you don't have those abilities,
Right.
meaning you can't be disciplined and you can't be consistent. As we
Mm-hmm.
just said, consistency is about fairness. It's
Mm-hmm.
not about being consistent in your actions.
Right. Right. Right.
And then discipline is routine,
Mhm.
predictability. But
Mhm.
because you don't have it in your top 10 doesn't mean you can't have a routine and be predictable and,
Right.
get things done that way.
Right.
So you
Mhm.
have to be careful of those nuances and those descriptive words and what the strength is really all about. So just good to know. That's why, again,
Yeah.
it's nice to have a third party who understands these.
Hmm. Yeah, we could talk more. So much more. We didn't really get into her bottom five at all, but there
Well,
just
why don't we do that before
should
we
we
wrap it up here
touch
then?
touch on it a little
Yeah,
bit?
I know
Okay.
you're itching to do
I
that.
love it. I love the bottom five.
So
So I
please
can
go
relate to
ahead,
having
run with it.
command low. So to me, command is my 34. So to me, command means being bossy. So
Hmm.
if I would try and push my command strength, that's how it would come across. Being bossy, telling people what to do, but yet feeling awkward and nervous and coming across as just being kind of a jerk. So, strategic is having lots of options, lots of strategies. Self assurance is having like that inner compass, that North Star that you just are so confident about. And this doesn't mean that she doesn't have self confidence.
Right.
It's just that it's not energizing for her to just take that leap of faith of knowing that you know that you know that you know.
Hmm.
Activator, which that makes so much sense that this is low, because when you have deliberative high, you're thinking through all the obstacles. Activator is to other people seems like acting without thinking, and she's thinking all
Hmm.
through all the
Hmm.
things.
Right.
So, she is not kind of think then act. She's think then think then think then think and think some more.
Yep.
And then includer, it makes sense that that is low because she has relator high. Occasionally, you'll find relator and includer within five rankings of each other, but typically they're at the opposite ends of the spectrum because someone who has relator high has a small inner circle. Someone who has includer high wants to make sure everybody has a seat at
Hmm.
the table. They, like you said, Teresa, the arms are open wide, everybody come in,
Hmm.
and you're just not as worried about having that small inner circle.
And thank you for that. You did a really good job of that. And you're
Thanks.
right. It is funny how we can kind of tell what's going to be at the opposite end
Yeah.
of this report. Does it always hold true?
No.
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 But typically,
Right.
that's how they tend to fall.
Yeah, my
Um,
relator and includer are pretty close together. I have includer at 8 and relator at 13. So
okay.
they're pretty close. So I have an inner circle, but it's much larger than my husband's inner circle because he has relator at 2.
Oh, I love that explanation.
Yeah.
So you can see that it's so good to know this about ourselves.
Yeah.
It's good to understand that other people are operating from their own superpowers.
Hmm.
And so, for me, that tends to cut down on judgment if I
Yeah.
can catch
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
Like, oh, do
Same.
not step into that judgment zone.
Right.
How do you think or why do you think this person's showing up like this?
Hmm.
And this particular person, I don't know her other than from her strengths. I feel I
Hmm.
know her really well,
Yeah.
but very deliberate, very cautious, very guarded, very,
Okay. Hmm.
like I said, she's thinking, she's intentional.
Hmm.
That's just what I pulled out from looking at her strengths in an
Hmm.
objective way and meeting her a couple of times.
Okay.
I got that same sense. Like
Hmm.
she would be somebody possibly sitting over there by herself, just
Right.
observing and being totally content. But
Uh-huh.
again, she still appreciates people connecting with her,
Right.
just not the life of the party or
Right.
anything. So it's just, I just love this understanding. It just is so empowering as the person looking out, from the outside in as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is just so thrilling to me. But thank you. Oh, we didn't even talk about Chameleon. We better do that before we
Oh,
wrap this up.
that's right.
I titled it Chameleon, but we didn't even mention it.
Right. Maybe that's where you lost your train of thought. Maybe
That
you were
could be.
going there.
That could
Yeah.
be.
Yeah. So what we call as a chameleon is someone who has three domains or categories in their top 10. So, like we said, if you have three or more of a strength that belongs in a particular category in your top 10, that means it's important to you. So, someone who's a chameleon, they might have, like this lady, four of one and three, three, or they might have three, 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 and that is
Mm-hmm.
really a chameleon. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
hard to for them to pinpoint. Um, so it's someone who has strengths in three or more categories or domains in their top 10.
And they can fluidly move from one to the other very
Mm-hmm.
quickly. I've heard people say it's situational, depends on the
Mm-hmm.
situation in the
Mm-hmm.
moment as
Mm-hmm.
to what category they're going to show up
Yeah.
in or pull from first.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it might be harder for me to switch from a dominant relationship builder
Yeah.
to an executing mode. It's going to take me a longer time to maybe get there,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to be colored by my desire for connection and that
Right.
I don't want to step on anybody's toes, and that
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. So that's going to cause me to act differently than this person
Yeah.
who, like, whatever needs to be done, she could
Right.
jump back and forth
Yeah.
and, be very fluid in it and very confident and just
Absolutely.
pull the tools out of her tool belt as needed in a
Mm-hmm.
much quicker way. Even though I just said she was very intentional,
Mm-hmm.
but to be able to jump between those domains is a lot easier for
Yeah.
her than somebody else.
Mm-hmm. So my husband is a pastor and he's an introvert. And typically people think that he is an extrovert because he is a chameleon.
Mm.
And so he can flow into those relationship building superpowers, those strategic thinking superpowers, the executing, and so he comes across as being an extrovert. People can't believe that he's an introvert. But after Sunday morning, he is wiped
I was
out.
just going to say that.
And then if we have a dinner after church and then a meeting and or something like that, it takes him days to for his energy to be recouped.
Wow. Again, a good thing to know about yourself and a good thing to be able to convey to others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So, oh, I need my me time. Sorry, I
Yeah.
got to unplug and come back to center and be
Right.
able to verbalize that is very
Mhm.
empowering, I think.
Mhm.
So this has been fun. Thank you
It
so
has been.
much,
It's
Linda.
always fun.
It is always fun. You are right. I've never
I
had
look
an
forward
episode
to
where
it.
it wasn't
I
fun.
know, right? And I think we always learn something.
Oh, yes.
We
Because,
teach each other, or we
yep.
we look at someone's report and we're like, oh, I never saw that before.
Mm-hmm.
Or if we can talk to the person in person, that's fun too, just like Teresa mentioned earlier.
Yeah. So if there's a report that you have or you haven't taken yours yet, your
Yeah.
assessment, and you want to, please get it over to us. Just connect
Mhm.
with me or Linda. Our information is going to be connected with this recording.
Yeah.
And you can just send this report. You saw what it looked like. That's the only page we need.
Right.
And then we'll write all over it.
Yeah.
And then, and then we will guess what type of person you are based
Yeah.
on those
Yeah.
strengths. And
Yeah.
if you want to be with us to
Mhm.
offer us feedback, we would love that.
Yeah.
So just reach out.
Yep.
And I am
Sounds
going to put
good.
up my little sign right
That's
here.
right.
If this was useful for you, please subscribe, share, leave us a comment. We would
Mhm.
love to
Yeah.
know
Love to hear
what your
some
thoughts are
feedback,
if you're learning
questions.
anything.
Hmm.
Yeah, we want you to learn. We want you to be as excited about this whole concept as we are. So
Yeah.
that's why we do this
Yep.
most every Tuesday. But
Right.
I think we went a little bit long today. If you
We
hung
did.
in
We
there,
had a lot going.
Yes. Thank you so much for hanging in there.
Yeah.
Linda,
Thanks,
thank you
everyone.
so much for your
Yeah, you too.
wisdom and expertise around this as well. And we will see everybody the next time.
Yeah.
Thanks so
Bye,
much.
everyone.
Bye bye.